Hi there, welcome to Craftalytical. Wherever you are and whenever you're watching, thank you so much for being here. Can I encourage you to please hit the like button? It doesn't matter when in the video you hit that like button, but please do. Please watch as much of the video as you can because that all helps my channel. And if you like me or like my content, please hit subscribe. Please become a member or become part of my community. It all helps. It all makes a big difference to small channels like mine to get us seen and boosted. So thank you. I wanted to do a little video explaining my true crime spree. Now, for someone with depression and anxiety and PTSD and someone who is a survivor, some people think it's a bit weird. And I understand that. I really do, because it doesn't sound right, does it? But the reason is I like the justice. I like knowing that the perpetrator gets put in prison, that the family get justice, that the loved one gets brought home and tended to in accordance with their wishes and celebrated as a person. I hate injustice. I hate the idea of someone getting away with it. I like to watch things where we know there's going to be some kind of resolution. I'm not a big fan of unsolved crimes. I like unsolved mysteries. I like ghosty, kind of haunted places and that kind of thing. I like UFO stuff. I'm interested in conspiracy theories. It's not that I believe in all of those things, absolutely. But it's about evidence. It's about hearing the evidence and making my mind up and having that data of whatever kind. I'm a very analytical person. I'm a very data-driven person. So having facts really helps my anxiety, because the more I know, the more prepared I am, and the more I know what warning signs there are and what sets, bad people off. It's about protecting myself, and it's about knowing the outcome. It makes it safe to watch because I know in the end of this story, the family gets what they need at the worst possible moment in your life. You know what happened to your loved one and you can lay them to rest. I want people to get justice, but I want it to be the right justice. I want to follow the evidence and make sure that the evidence actually fits and someone isn't being railroaded, isn't being wrongfully convicted, because there's a lot of wrongful convictions, especially in America. Recently, there's a couple of people that have been released from prison. Unsurprisingly, they are Black, they are from poor areas, and they've been exonerated on DNA, having spent 20, 30, 40 years in prison. And that is just as bad to me. That is just as bad as the crime that they were accused of, but didn't commit. Like, you are taking a life, whether that is physically unaliving someone or locking someone up for decades. That is taking a life. And that's not okay. That's not something that I am comfortable with, and we shouldn't be comfortable with it. We should be incredibly uncomfortable that that happens. It's also about learning and understanding the mindset, what makes people commit these crimes. What goes on in someone's brain? Is it genetic? Is it environmental? Nature versus nurture? Is it a choice? And for some people, it is a choice, and for other people, they try desperately to suppress the feelings that they have and can't. And and I want to understand that. I find that fascinating because it's so far removed from how I would deal with a situation. And of course, we don't know how we would react to that situation because we're not in it. We've never been in it. We can imagine, we can try to imagine, but it is impossible to know for sure. And there are some people that have committed heinous crimes that are deep down good people, but it was circumstance, it was a series of choices in their life or a series of events in their life that got them to that place. And that's not to mitigate it, that's not to condone this behavior or anything else, but it's all factors. It's part of their journey, because we are the sum of our experiences, whether we've taken lessons from things of that's how I'm going to act, or that is the opposite to how I want to be. And some people get caught up because of poverty, because of area, because of upbringing, because of addiction. And I want to understand that, so that we can take those lessons and teach, generations to come how to avoid that, how to be better people, how to educate yourself in a situation where maybe you haven't been exposed to the right influences or whatever. And it is about learning and growing. It's about the security of taking the unknown and turning it into the knowable. And I'm fascinated by forensics. Almost 3 decades ago, it was something I decided I wanted, and I tried so hard for well over 10 years to get to that. And it wasn't meant to be for me. I wasn't able to go to university, and when I wanted to go back to it, there was outside pressure, and being forced to make choices that I didn't want to make, but I had to. So watching true crime for me is being as close to it as I can. The other side of it is the media spin. It blows my mind that we've got articles coming up, and it's on YouTube as well, of the evidence is piling up, and how the crime was committed, or what was the other one I saw the other day? Bombshell testimony. And I hate that. I hate the way it's being spun, because it's just not true. It's just not true. And we saw this in the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, and a few others that have gone on, where, the media have spun it as this sensational thing. And then, because they've already spun it that way, they have to keep going. And prosecutors and DAs and politicians have got very good at going out into the media and saying, hey, we've got this is amazing, expect plot twists and, all sorts of other stuff. And it's just a nothing burger. But because everyone's doubled down, they've got to keep up that rhetoric. And see my video on doubling down, because that is what happens. They're still out there, in the media, and the media themselves saying, it is really hard for Alex Murdoch to explain away all of this evidence. And I'm looking at it and thinking, are you watching the same trial as me? The reason I want to do recaps on these things is to give you an honest view, completely impartial. I'm in a different country. I have no skin in the game. I don't know any of these people. And, if the prosecution haven't got it, they haven't got it. If they've got it, they've got it. I think it's important to be honest and have avenues to go to. Because even Law and Crime, who are streaming this, they're trying to spin it. They're trying to make it more sensational. And, I'd far rather have honest reporting of, this is dull, and they have nothing. Because I think it helps hold people accountable. It's also really interesting. It's interesting how the media gets used. And it doesn't matter what media it is. This isn't a right or left thing. This is just media, because it's about clicks and views and everything else. And, my thing is about clicks and views. I want you to see my content, but I also want to be honest. And I don't know about you, but I hate the bombshell kind of, rhetoric, the thumbnails that have loads of exclamation marks and question marks and big bold writing and everything else to sensationalize what is honestly a nothing case. And I would be honest, if the prosecution had it, I would be saying they've got it, and they don't. So, it's about honest reporting as much as anything else, and talking about the lessons that we can learn from it. The lessons that law enforcement or forensics could learn from it. The lessons that family members and other people can learn from it. The lessons that your average person can learn from it. Put your guns in a safety kind of cabinet, in a locked cabinet, or whatever else it is. Protect yourself, absolutely. I am not here, despite being English, I am not here to take your guns. But I do believe in responsible gun ownership. So, it's those lessons. It's those lessons. Be careful who you're inviting into your house, and, make sure you lock your doors and your windows, and, protect yourself and your family. I think we can learn an awful lot about these crimes and how to be safer, and teach our next generations how to be safer. And the only way we are going to stop making the same mistakes that we've made, whether that's individual perpetrators or in big changes in the world, is to learn about them. No matter how uncomfortable the truth may be, learn about them and progress. And that is basically it. That's why I'm covering true crime. It's also the creativity of the people that have been streaming it. So law can be interpreted in so many different ways, and seeing the different law tubers and their different takes and everything else, I really enjoy Kurt's sense of humor. It's very dry, it's very kind of almost British, and I enjoy his analysis. There is something very creative about what he does and how he interacts and everything else. So there is a creativity about it. And me making videos is also part of my creative process. Sharing this information with you and being creative in that way is super duper important to me. So that's why I'm covering true crime. It helps my mental and physical health. It really, really does. It makes me feel better because I'm producing something. I am doing something useful. Even if I've created the situation, I'm doing something useful. Takes my mind off of the pain and the fatigue and how I'm feeling in myself. And it makes me concentrate on other people, on the victims, on the situation. And it also teaches me better compassion and empathy for people, whether they are victims, families, people involved, and even those who are accused. I think we need to have more compassion. We need to have more empathy for people. Even if, you can think someone is the biggest a-hole in the world, you can still have compassion for their situation and how they got there. And, that doesn't mean you have to like them. Doesn't mean that you have to show them compassion and empathy. But I think that helps us learn about humanity. I think that makes us learn about people in general. And I honestly think the only way to learn, evolve, and get off this planet is to do that, is to connect with people and understand them. So it's just my thoughts. That's why I'm covering true crime. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think? Do you watch true crime for the same reasons as me? Do you have different reasons? What is your motivation for that kind of thing? Are there any other cases that you want my take on? Let me know. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will speak to you soon.